Hey, thanks for joining us today. And I'm honored to have with me Secretary Racine, Commissioner Iacoboni, Hal Cohen, Reed Markley, who does such a great job at COTS. And who else do I have?
Auburn from the network.
Auburn from the network. Thank you.
Earhart Monco.
We know Earhart.
Jan DeMass from CBLE.
Thank you. Welcome. In the last several months, Vermont has had 3 homeless people perish in the cold. As you know, I've been committed to ending homelessness in Vermont throughout my career in public service. It's a tragedy that any state would allow people to freeze to death outside. So I've asked Secretary Racine and my team, Commissioner Iacoboni, and the networks to work together with me to ensure that we do everything within our power to avoid having Vermonters freeze to death outside. I'm going to be signing an executive order shortly that reestablishes the Vermont Council on Homelessness to implement a homeless plan to end homelessness in Vermont. Our goal is simple: move homeless people from shelters and motels to permanent housing. I'm appointing Angus Cheney as Director of Housing at the Agency of Human Services to lead this effort. And I want to thank Secretary Racine for his leadership in making that happen. We'll hear from Angus shortly. Third, I've asked Secretary Racine to waive eligibility requirements for shelters during harsh and dangerously cold weather, so that every homeless person knows that when it's cold, they have a place to go at night. The state's launched the rental subsidy program that's going to allow low-income Vermonters to pay their rent. It includes case management support to keep people from becoming homeless, and we are authorizing 100 housing vouchers to help move people from shelters and motels to permanent housing, to homeless Vermonters and those who are suffering from mental illness. I'm going to sign this executive order now, and then I want to ask Angus to say a few words about his vision in implementing this plan as we reauthorize the establishment of the Vermont Council on Homelessness. Then I'm going to ask Rita to say a few words about her challenge. We have a rising number of homeless people in Vermont. I know that Vermont, as one of the most compassionate states in the country, where we care deeply about every Vermonter, understands that it's unacceptable to have Vermonters dying in the streets because of cold weather. I believe these actions will give us a better chance in our effort to end homelessness in Vermont and to ensure that no Vermonter freezes in the streets. So Angus, I'm going to turn it over to you, and then we'll hear from Rita. Congratulations. Welcome aboard.
Thank you, Governor. Thank you, members of the press. I won't take a lot of your time. I am too new to get way out on a limb with this, but I just want to share a little bit. I've been working on the issues of homelessness and homelessness prevention for about 10 or 11 years now, both at the provider level, working with community action agencies, and really came to understand the link between poverty and homelessness. For the last 7 or 8 years, I've been with the Office of Economic Opportunity, continuing that work with our fantastic shelter partners and our nonprofit agencies that are providing all the good prevention work. There's been a growing acknowledgement within our Agency of Human Services that housing is key and is critical to the success of any of the services that we would provide. There's been some great momentum. I want to thank the governor for his work at putting together the summit on housing the homeless that happened back in May. And I think we periodically need to re-energize our efforts. We need something like that to get folks from all over the state to come together and figure out where are the missing pieces, where are the gaps. How do we align our policies better? How do we make sure we're all pulling in the same direction? The goal is fairly simple. It's ending homelessness. The solution is not rocket science, it's affordable permanent housing. You're going to see some exciting changes, I think, in the next year in terms of the way we view this issue. It cannot be viewed through the lens of a single grant, a single program, or a single division of government. Part of the role for reestablishing the the Vermont Council on Homelessness is to get everybody in the same room and make sure that we are in alignment in terms of our policies. So once again, I just really wanted to let everyone know that I'm really excited about this opportunity to take the work I've been doing at the provider level and with the OEO to the agency level, and I want to commend our administration for recognizing the urgency of this issue. It's hard when an issue has been a crisis for 30 years. It would be easy to let ourselves slide a little bit on it and start to accept any sort of level of homelessness in Vermont. I will encourage you all not to accept that. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Angus. And I now want to introduce Rita Markley, who's Executive Director of COTS, a great example of an organization supported mostly by donations from generous Vermonters who ensures that we do everything that we can for homeless Vermonters. I had the pleasure on Martin Luther King Day of cooking food at one of COTS facilities on Main Street in Burlington that allows Vermonters to get temporary housing before we move them to permanent housing. A lot of moms and dads with children there looking forward to permanent housing as quickly as we can move them. So Rita, thank you and COTS for all your great work, and why don't you come on up.
Thank you. I have an 8-page speech here, but really I'll read quickly. No, I'm kidding.
Don't pull an Obama on us.
I'm not going to pull an Obama. I want to commend this administration for presenting. I hope you take the time to read through the release, because this is a really comprehensive plan. And during a very difficult economy, it's so easy to just focus on the crisis and to do a short-term fix. And what's unique about today and this order is that we are setting out, the governor, this administration is setting out to do two things: to ensure, with changes in the guidelines for emergency assistance, that no Vermonter on the coldest nights who has no options is left without a place to turn. These new flexible guidelines are going to mean that people, when shelters are full or there isn't room, that they'll get emergency assistance perhaps through an overflow motel, people who might not otherwise have been eligible. But even more, we're not doing this as a trade for the long-term solution, which is breaking the fall before people become homeless in the first place. And what I am most grateful for is that in this plan, not only do we have subsidies, state-funded subsidies to help keep people in their homes during difficult times when their job changes or their family income plummets or something happens, we will keep them in homes, but we also have a unified position at AHS that's going to navigate many of the cumbersome systems currently in place to create a coherent homeless prevention strategy. And just to give you an idea of how important this is, my organization, COTS, for the past 4 years, has run a homeless prevention and rehousing program. And in the past 4 years, at about a cost of $800 per household, we have kept from eviction and foreclosure 816 homeless families who otherwise would be sleeping in their cars, in shelters, or doubled up in places that aren't good for kids or families. So I am very grateful. You know, H.L. Mencken once said that faith is the illogical belief in the improbable. And one of my favorite things about this administration, the talent on the AHS team, is that we believe in doing what most other states have given up on long ago. So we're going to do prevention, and we're going to make sure that everyone has a place to turn on the coldest nights. And one last thing, I had tried to persuade one of the moms in our shelter to come and share a little bit of her story. But when we talk about numbers and policies, it doesn't convey to you what it's really like for the people who don't have a home. So I want to just read you 3 quotes so you understand at the level of your hearts why this matters. The first is from a woman who's a 34-year-old teacher's aide on what it's like to suddenly find yourself homeless. I'll tell you what it's like. It's like treading water, and the water is so cold, and your muscles ache, but you can't stop. And every time you think you're getting somewhere, the current changes or the waves just get rougher. That's from her. And here's from her 9-year-old son. Well, the hardest part is right before I open my eyes in the morning. Because when I sleep, my dreams go back to my old room, and then I think I'm still there. But then doors start slamming, and the water is running, and I remember we're still not home. Well, today, signing this takes us a lot closer so that kids like him are on their way to home and opportunities. Thank
Thank you, Rita. Thanks for your great work. Is there anything, Secretary, anything you want to add, or you? No?